Gymnastic fails are a pretty common occurrence when you think about it, whether it's flying off the uneven bars, rocketing off to embarrassment from vaulting, or having a terrible injury. Even the most talented and experienced gymnast can fail miserably. Stay tuned as we're about to count down the top 10 worst gymnastic fails. Just a warning before moving on, there's going to be a lot of ouch and yikes in this video. Sitting at number 10, face first but graceful, Anastasia Valyurievna Lyukina. Russian-born American gymnast Nastasia Lyukin is a champion, to say the least. She's won pretty much everything when it comes to artistic gymnastics, from the balance beams to the uneven bars. But her biggest fail probably came at the 2012 Olympics, while she performed an exceptional routine on the high bar. We would like to add that it was exceptional only for a few minutes until she failed miserably, landing flat on her face. Everything was going pretty good, and Natasha had it all under control. She was spinning and literally flying on the high bars until she let go to perform a rotation, and completely failed to grab hold of the bar on her way back down. Natasha landed flat on her face, and honestly speaking, you could literally hear her face getting slapped by the plastic mat. But she still deserves credit for making it very graceful. As she laid there flat on her face, Natasha poked a leg up to let everyone know she was okay. She was ultimately disqualified from the event, but still managed to get a standing ovation from the crowd. Up next, Adrian Nieste, literally flying. Not many people have experienced the feeling of flying through the air, even if it's for a couple of seconds. It can pretty much change your life. And thankfully for Hungarian gymnast Adrian Nieste, the high bars provided her with that experience. At the 2000 Olympics, Adrian was having a really good night as she performed multiple jaw-dropping routines on the high bar. Adrian was about to finish her routine until the high bar decided to finish her career. Why do we say that? Well, what happened wasn't exactly life-threatening or really dangerous. It's just that Adrian never competed after this incident. So what happened was that Adrian was just about to finish her routine, and to end with a perfect landing, she needed to gain some speed. She spun around the bar once and twice, and as soon as she gained a little speed, Adrian lost her grip and went flying into the air. To be honest, she just made the mats, otherwise she would have landed flat on the floor. At number 8, completing an essay, Batuhan Yazici. If you haven't heard about Ritalin yet, it's basically a pharmaceutical drug that stimulates your mind and body. Nothing illegal about it. A normal drug that doctors can prescribe if needed. But Batuhan Yazici, a New Zealand gymnast, was suspended for 2 years after testing positive for Ritalin at the 2019 New Zealand Gymnastics Championships. Now, Yazici wasn't exactly trying to cheat or anything. In fact, he was actually trying to do better. Not at gymnastics though. Apparently, Yazici took Ritalin to complete a university essay on time, but it turned out that Ritalin was a banned substance in the competition. If you've watched Bradley Cooper's Limitless, this is probably making a lot of sense. But anyway, the sports tribunal did not accuse Yazici of cheating, but had to suspend him because of the drug. Wonder if Yazici still thinks the essay was worth it. Up next, life's a party. Yuri Van Gelder. Yuri Van Gelder, an Olympic gymnast, has had a pretty crazy career. And by crazy, we mean an absolute failure of a career. Yuri Van Gelder obviously has a problem. Drugs and gymnastics just don't go together. In 2016, Yuri was expelled from the Dutch team after he left the Olympic Village and came back so drunk that he couldn't even stand up straight. We're not sure what Yuri was thinking, whether he'd be able to sneak in his room like a rowdy teenager without anyone knowing. But this isn't the first time Yuri has had trouble with drugs. In 2010, he was banned for 1 year by the Royal Dutch Gymnastics Federation for taking cocaine. And when he came back in 2011, guess what he did? Cocaine! We're guessing he did cocaine that entire year. Super embarrassing. Next, gymnast fails, spotter wins. Trampoline is a pretty fun activity outside of professional sports as well, and almost each and every one of us has fallen off a trampoline. Of course, it probably wasn't as serious as what happened at the Baku 2015 European Games. So at international games, gymnasts usually go up 20 to 30 feet in the air while performing a routine on a trampoline. That's what happened when Tomaszewski was literally 30 feet in the air, but the way he was coming down didn't look too good. It was set up for failure as soon as he got in the air. It just looked wrong. Not what you'd expect from a professional gymnast. A spotter on the side even tried to throw a mat to cushion his fall, but that wasn't enough. But a daring spotter on the other side of the trampoline literally caught Tomaszewski and cushioned his fall. Their heads did collide pretty badly, and the spotter was visibly out of it. Honestly, that spotter deserves a raise. He cushioned the fall with his own head. If he was not there, it would have ended really bad. Now, at number 5, she's a popular meme, Michaela Maroney. After scoring almost perfect on her first vault attempt, Michaela was set to take home the gold. So as she ran up to the vault for a second time, everything was looking good. In fact, everything was good except for her landing. Instead of landing on her feet, she first landed on her heels, then flat on her backside. And to top things off, she just sat there for a bit in total embarrassment. It sounds like a pretty normal thing, right? But it's not, especially if you saw her first jump. It was like going from incredible to absolutely mediocre. Afterwards, she was pictured making a really funny expression. The picture turned into an extremely popular meme that's still used to this day. Up next, graceful rolling. Alina Maskimenko. Ukrainian rhythmic gymnast Alina Maskimenko has always been graceful in her routines. She had a pretty short career, but literally has a cult when it comes to fan following. Alright, so during the 2012 London Olympics, Alina Maskimenko was performing a routine in which you basically do a lot of rhythmic gymnastics, but with a ball. Like you throw the ball and catch it in a way that it sort of complements your entire routine. So Alina threw the ball up in the air and started doing front rolls. She wanted to catch the ball between her legs, so after rolling 3 times and finally getting in position underneath the ball, she couldn't catch it and the ball rolled another 10 feet away from her. In order to get to the ball, she did another 3 or 4 rolls, so it just ended up looking like she rolled for a good 10 seconds before doing something else. She could have played it off if she wanted to. Still a fail though. And number 3 is awkward. Elisa Downey. It's pretty humbling when you imagine yourself doing something but it doesn't happen. Elisa probably imagined herself doing a full front flip, but it's okay. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and sometimes it doesn't just humble you, it also embarrasses you in front of thousands of people. Anyway, Elisa was performing her floor routine and she had something really special planned. As soon as she landed from a huge rotation, she wanted to do another rotation, but that didn't go as planned. She couldn't execute the somersault properly and fell short, landing awkwardly on her neck. It was a really scary moment, to be honest. She could have really hurt herself. If you haven't seen the video yet, take a look. You'd be amazed how nothing went wrong. It was a fail that could have easily turned into the worst of fails. Thankfully, she made it out without a scratch. Sitting at number 2, not for the faint-hearted, Samantha Serio. Alright, this one is really bad. It's definitely not one for the faint-hearted, but it's a total failure and a devastating injury. A career-ending and life-changing injury for Samantha Serio, an all-SEC gymnast. While performing a beautiful floor routine, Samantha was aiming to finish by sticking a clean landing, but what happened next was just terrible. Unfortunately, Samantha fell just a bit short, landing in an extremely awkward position, dislocating both of her knees and snapping her legs. It was just gruesome. Even if you watch the video today, it'll make you feel all sorts of things. Anyway, Samantha had to be taken out on a stretcher, whilst a really spooked out crowd clapped for her in support. Samantha's recovered and she's doing really good. Just one of those fails that you wish never happened. And number 1, a fail for the sport. Melanie Coleman. What we're about to tell you is really tragic, and while it definitely makes a spot in the top 10 worst fails in gymnastics, it's a failure for the sport. Melanie Coleman, a gymnast from the Southern Connecticut State University, died tragically after an accident with the uneven bars. Unfortunately, Melanie couldn't control her landing and ended up in an awkward position with a little too much pressure on her spine. She was taken to the hospital but passed away because of the seriousness of the injury. It's one of the worst failures of the sport because as the level of competition rises, no work is done on improving safety. Thanks for watching and see you next time.